Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome here for the FOSSR FOSSR's first day. And today, the main topic will be on a session on text mining for policy analysis and evaluation. Let me say that I'm Giovanni Cerulli, just for present myself, and I'm the scientific responsible for FOSS. And today my main task will be to introduce Emanuela and Antonio, who are going to present some application of text mining on some policy issues and evaluation. I think that this is a very timely methodology that we use in our institute, the Ircres Cnr, and at the same time, it's part of the great family of artificial intelligence methods, although not generative, but at least very relevant for summarizing information and generating knowledge from a large mass of information that is sometimes, very dispersed and very not codified. So we think that this is a really important subject that deserves a lot of attention and focus. So I really hope that today will be very useful for you and for everyone attending this workshop, this day, the FOSSR day. Before going on, I would like just to introduce you the director of our institute, Giuseppe Giulio Calabrese, who is going to bring some institutional institutional greetings before starting the day. So, Giulio, if you want to take the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Giovanni, and thank you for everybody that we are attending this workshop. It's a very pleasure for me to be part of this section because it's one of the more important research that inside our institute. Our institute is located in 4 towns: Turin, Milan, Genoa, and Rome, of course, and the office of Rome is one of the more important in the institute. And other colleagues in other towns are interested in the FOSS days, in the FOSS research. Unfortunately, I cannot attend all the workshop because I will have to have another call, but surely I will see the video so to just not lost everybody that is safe. Thank you, and Giovanni, good job. And
thank you, everybody. Thank you very much, Giulio. Thank you for your greetings, and I also would like to thank the 2 discussants for today, and Misael Monjovi, who is a computer scientist at the University of Catania and also at the CNR at the same time with double affiliation, and Raffaele Spallone from the Ministry of production at the industry, we are very happy to have them here, and I think that their comments will be very valuable. So thank you very much for serving as discussants for this important session of the FOSS days. Okay, I think it's time for start, and Antonio and Emanuela, I'm going to leave you the floor, and thank you very much also for delivering this very interesting, policy making session. Thank you very much for this. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Giovanni. Thank you, Giulio. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, thank you, Emanuela, for sharing the slide. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. This policy brief that we are discussing in this session focuses on the benefits of using text mining to analyze public policies. As many of you know, text mining allows us to analyze a large amount of textual data, reports, calls, so in general policy documents and so on, and helping us to identify specific issues and details of policy decisions that is not possible to have using traditional statistical methods. FOSSR integrates, innovative tools and services to increase, to enhance research practices and policy evaluation. On this slide, we also highlight three important research infrastructure within FOSSR. So let me summarize the main the information we have each one, and let me start with CESDA. This is only to facilitate the debate. CESDA is an infrastructure within FOSS project, which has data on social, economic, environmental studies across more countries in Europe. This is a sort of repository that contain information on more European countries on more topics. Then we have share. Share focuses on the health, aging, and retirement policies affecting European people. And then we have RISI's infrastructure, that is one of the most important European research infrastructure on science, technology, and innovation policy studies. And in this presentation, we will apply some data that we have within RISIS, and we are incrementing within the FOSS project. So in FOSS, we have access to many textual documents on more topics that can be analyzed, and the result of this analysis can be very useful for policymakers, helping them understand how to improve policy design and decision making. On this slide, we see how text mining can be applied specifically in the context of science, technology, and innovation policies, because our focus in this presentation will be on the science and the innovation studies. And so as a case study in the policy brief, we focus on STI policy. And in this case, in this field of study, text mining helps answer important questions related to emerging trends and challenges in this field. For instance, and you have a list of some questions we want to answer, and where it's possible to answer using text mining. What are the emerging technologies and the most pressing social challenges? How are social challenges linked to technological developments? How well do R&D funding policy align with the Sustainable Development Goals? And can text mining monitor trends over time in environmental and societal themes within research topics? These are just a few examples. No, please, the previous one. Okay, these are few examples in the of the insights that text mining can provide. We can help, in this case, policymaker and the researcher, the community, make more informed decision and better address societal needs. Next slide, please. So, in recent years, we have seen a significant increase in the literature regarding the importance of text mining techniques, especially in the context of public policy and support for policymakers. This is true because text mining, for several reasons, but this is one important reason is that text mining is linked to machine learning that is integrated within text mining itself. You know that machine learning techniques, which include classification algorithms, clustering, and process that automatically extract latent topics, for instance, provide a significant advantage for both researchers and the policymakers. So you know that, for instance, machine learning can be used to automatically classify documents, and it's easier to identify those documents that are relevant to a particular topic. So text mining identifies the main themes discussed in a large set of textual documents without the need for manual analysis that is much more, time consuming. The literature has shown that text mining plays an important role in policy context, especially during the agenda setting phase, helping to identify and rank specific policy issues. So several case studies show that text mining is a powerful and innovative tool that provide deep insights and supporting data-driven decision in various contexts. Next slide, please. So these slides show how FOSSR can address the use of text mining in the context of science, technology, and innovation through two main applications that Emanuela will address in detail in a while. The first application focuses on gender equality. Using text mining techniques, we can extract information about gender equality from various calls and other documents related to research funding. The information that we have within the HEFIL dataset. A dataset on funding programs across research funding organizations in Europe and in US. So the goal here is to map the alignment of these funding programs with the Sustainable Development Goals. In this case, we will focus on the SDG 5 on gender equality. The second application involves the PhD thesis published in Italy from 2008 and 2022. With this data that we are collecting within the FOSSR project, we can understand the evolution of research topic over the years. Here we will focus on the area of climate change. In this case, we can understand, for instance, how younger researchers, PhD holders, have responded and respond to global challenges. What we are currently working on, particularly on the Sustainable Development Goals, is understanding the gap between what research policies declare through their documents, through their calls, and how much the performers follow the guidelines and the constraints within the specific calls. So in other words, we are trying to understand whether the performers are aligned with the policymaker directions, or if there are divergences in the specific documents. So, Emanuela, the floor is yours, and you can continue with the presentation.
Thank you, Antonio. In this part of the presentation, I will illustrate two case studies to show how method and data included in FOSSR infrastructure could support policymakers in monitoring and evaluate the policy agenda, and also to take data-driven decisions based on the evidence. In the first case study, we explore SDG, Sustainable Development Goal, in a research funding instrument. We use a field dataset, included in FOSSR, and this dataset aims at enabling users to investigate public R&D funding in Europe at the level of project funding instrument and at the level of research funding organization. EFIL is also enriched with a repository that stores official documents where we applied automated processes that include ontologies and statistical analysis, and we use this kind of automated processes to generate SDG descriptor, and we enrich our dataset with this information. We applied the text mining over more than 1,500 extensive documents to track shift over time in RFO orientation, research funding organization orientation, to a specific SDG goal. We focus our attention, our analysis on SDG 5, the gender equality SDG, to provide insight into how RFO align their strategies with these specific objectives, and also to enable RFO to precise and impactful, to develop more impactful policy. More in general, SDG mapping allow us to understand how sustainability targets influence project funding instrument, and also could help research funding organization in better integrating SDG into their policy agenda. The first figure show a level of RFO level where we compare two waves. The data collection, the documents collection was done in two waves. The first wave that collect documents produced by research funding organization during the period of 2017-2008, and the second wave collect information of documents produced by research funding organization in 2020-2021. This this kind of collection is important to track the change over time in the change in document in the production of document. In fact, we could say at the macro level that research funding organization in Europe increased from the first to the second wave the attention on gender dimension in their documents. In the case of in the specific case shown in this figure, we compare 3 RFO of 3 different countries, the Austrian, Germany, and Italian RFO. And this figure shows how the FOSSR agency registered the best production of documents with the gender-related keywords, both in the first and in the second wave. It's followed by the DFG, the German agency, and finally we find the Minister of University and Research, the MUR, the Italian ministry, that in the first wave haven't documented with the gender-related keywords, but in the second wave there is an increase of gender keywords in documents produced by RFO, this RFO, the ministry. And this increase is due to the input given by Cnr program that have one of the main axes focus on the social inclusion and also to bridge the gap in gender field. We could say that text mining can help and RFO, but also policymaker, to monitor and compare the integration of gender dimension at a different level, at the level of funding program, at the level of RFO, and also to analyze the situation, the comparison among countries. Going to the second case study that we explore, we apply the text mining technique on the dataset, also included in FOSSR, on PhD thesis produced in Italy from 2008 to 2022. We observe the orientation and evolution of PhD thesis over time in the specific topic of climate change, to understand the trend in academic research from a policy perspective. What advantages from this kind of exploration? This kind of technique could help policymakers to assess whether current research efforts are aligned with the national and international priorities. It enables the identification of research gaps that may require target funding and also policy support. And also, policymakers could anticipate emerging challenges and also develop strategies that support long-term sustainable initiatives. With this kind of case study, we want to answer to the question of how orientation of PhD research on climate-related themes have evolved over time. This figure shed light on frequencies of top key climate-related keywords. And we could observe that there are different group of words. The first one is the words that have a constantly high usage, such as environment and temperature, that also show a high interest over time from 2008 to 2020 in research done by emerging scholars. But we have also a set of words that have a moderate and steady trend. And it suggests that the interest on these topics are moderate and also stable over time, terms such as precipitation. Finally, we have in this figure, we show the terms such as growth that that have a significant fluctuation over time, and we could this fluctuation could reflect the climate event that happened from 2008 to 2020. We could say that this kind of analysis could help policymakers to identify potential gaps in knowledge, but also could help a policymaker to promote a research setting more responsive and most focused on environmental challenges. To conclude, I show the last slide, where we have collect the main research topic into a box, and in this slide we show the main key areas explored by young researchers, and it's very interesting to focus our attention on topics such as the intersection between international cooperation, policy, and environmental impact, but also the study that focus on integrating climate resilience into health and safety policy. Finally, also, it's very interesting to explore the study that investigate the causes and the effect of public perception of climate policies. To conclude, we could say that this kind of method could play a pivotal role in cultivating highly skilled workforce that can lead an advance in climate policies and also sustainability initiatives. Antonio, for the policy.
Thank you. Let me conclude this this presentation. With these two examples of possible of applications, in this case on STI innovation, STI context, we are able to understand how close, in the first case, the PhD, in the second case, the PhD dissertation or research projects are aligned with the policy objectives, and where any gaps can exist. In the first case, in the example of SDGs, in particular the presentation, the SDG 5, we are able to understand as Italy is aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals, or in other cases, in the previous studies, we have applied the ontology, we have implemented to study the key enabling technologies. So in this case, we can say that text mining can analyze large data sets of scientific articles, scientific papers, patents, and this is a work that we want to address in the next months within the FOSS project. The idea is to identify emerging technologies and breakthrough innovations. This type of evidence is essential not only for monitoring and evaluating the success of policies, but also for informing future decisions. So it helps ensure that policies are based on data-driven insights, for instance, improving their chances of success and societal impact. So text mining highlights that the idea that the evidence is continuously analyzed and used to refine and improve the policy making process. So thank you. I finished this. We finished the presentation. Thank you, and I give the floor to the discussant.
Okay, I don't know if it's my turn.
Yes, you can start, Raffaele. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot. And good morning and good afternoon to everyone. I'm Raffaele Spallone, and I'm the head of unit of the digitization policy in the Ministry of Enterprise and Made in Italy. And I would like to thank the Emanuela and Antonio for this very nice and useful presentation, but also for having invited me, because it's obviously an occasion to learn something which can be really useful for me, but in general for policymakers. I think that the policy brief underlined the importance that that text mining has. Information needed by policymakers increasingly is embedded in a large amount of textual data that are available obviously on internet, but also in traditional social media, on large public documents, and the automatic extraction of information from text offers policymakers timely access to important information, which would otherwise be inaccessible. This is, I think, the most important point. So a great opportunity that text mining gave to policymakers in general is the fact that otherwise this type of information would be inaccessible. Indeed, the volume of data makes nearly impossible to extract the information that sometimes we need. As I said before, this presentation is a great opportunity for my personal perspective to understand better the benefits of text mining in policymaking process, obviously, and I would personally encourage pave the way forward to a better use of this solution in policymaking, also through maybe a meeting here at the ministry, with our study office, but in general with the responsible for the programming, policy programming. The increasing importance in the evaluation and the evaluation as crucial element for policy programming is something that now is consolidates. The foundation of evidence-based policy making is data. And so counterfactual evaluation, text mining are all methodological aspects that are increasingly gain and acquiring importance in our policy agenda. For example, it's crucial to understand for us the quota of expenditure devoted to specific policy objectives or specific needs. And these are, as I said before, a crucial element for every policy programming. We can think about, for example, budget law. And when we have to plan financial resources, for example, for budget law, but for other instruments without an historical perspective, without any historical of the amount of quota devoted, we use and we should use text mining to understand the quota. Also looking obviously at the emerging technologies, or according to the demands, the private demand or public demand, we can understand the needs of the markets or the most urgent needs from a society. But we, as Ministry of Enterprise and Made in Italy, obviously we look at the signals from the markets. So also in this case, analyzing a large amount of data that stems from the private world, it's crucial for a better and for improving our policy programming. I would like to stress, for example, two examples in which we have used text mining. Obviously, maybe the methodology was not so robust, but is a good example, I think, on the importance that has or the potential role that text mining can play. One is on public procurement of innovation, and last year's European Commission has stressed the importance of public procurement of innovation, recommending to the vote at least 1% or 3% of the total procurement expenditure to research innovation public procurements. But the way, this is a general problem of collecting data, it's not only related to public procurement, this is a general problem. The way of collecting data is based on an historical legislation and acquired habits that are difficult to change. So the way in which we have data is not compatible with the exact measurements of, in this case, the expenditure in public procurement innovation. So to understand where we are, where we was at the time, we use a technique based on artificial intelligence and on text mining. But this is a classical example, clerical example on how artificial intelligence and text mining techniques can be important. And the other example stems from a discussion that we have with the European Commission last week. We are reporting now the expenditure on transition 4.0. I'm responsible of the measure transition 4.0, that is among the most financed measure on National Recovery and Resilience Plan. And we have 200,000 beneficiaries on the National Recovery and Resilience Plan. The European Commission asked us to explain the quota of the projects that were financed with other European funded instruments. Obviously, we don't have data. We only have the tax declaration. And we have a database with the fiscal code of the enterprise, with all the other incentives that the enterprise has used in the last years. So what we have to do now in the next weeks has to arrive at a good assessment from the European Commission, is to understand for each project if some other incentive have been used to finance the same cost. This is in general possible for the Italian legislation, but the European Commission asked us to understand if there was a double financing of performance. And obviously, to do it, we need a robust technique on text mining. So maybe this is also an occasion to ask you for a future collaboration. But this is just an example on how it's text mining important, and how text mining will be more important in the future when the data and the large amounts of textual data will be huge. So just to conclude, I'm very happy to have the opportunity to read the policy brief. I would like to say again thanks to Emanuela and Antonio, and obviously to the Ircres. I leave the floor to Misael. Thanks a lot, and see you later.
Okay, thank you. I'm Misael Mongiovi, Associate Professor at University of Catania, and I'm associated to CNR, to the Institute of Science and Technology of Cognition. So I'd like to thank you, Antonio, Emanuela, for the invitation and for this interesting work. It's a pleasure for me to discuss this work. So I think this is a very important topic, text mining, and I found it interesting to see some real application text mining in general, natural language processing on policy making. So it's a topic that it can be applied on virtually any fields, policy making, okay, scientific fields, commercial, medical field, and so on. In this topic, it's interesting because, as you said, as you also, Rafael, said, we can analyze a large amount of data and we can extract information that otherwise we couldn't extract without having these tools. So we can extract trends, pattern associations, and this translate in understanding if there are issues, what are the issues, what are the impact of policies, and so on. And this is a field that have been evolving very rapidly during these years. And now we have models machine learning models that are able to understand natural language. So as you said, Antonio, machine learning is an important aspect of this text mining. And now we have large language models. ChatGPT is based on a large language model. And these models are very powerful and are able to extract a deep understanding, from the natural language. So I found very interesting the two case studies, and they cover two different aspects. So one aspect is we want to measure an indicator. So how can we measure if some or in which extent some sustainable development goal is satisfied. Gender equality is a very important issue, but in general, any other sustainable development goal and any other kind of aspect that we want to extract from the text. And the other case study is based on something more qualitative, something more, let's say, some more complex understanding. So not only what is the effort spent on climate change, but also in which aspects of climate change are targeted by the research. So these require a more complex elaboration. So it's interesting that I had the opportunity to read this policy brief and to listen to you on these practical use cases. I'd like to spend a few words about the method. I'm a computer scientist, so I'm more interested about methods. We have problems we want to solve, tasks, and so which method, which tools can we use to solve this task as better as possible. And so which kind of how can we extract information from the text in a way that is as much as useful as possible. We want to have a deep understanding of the text. So we can say we want to extract some kind of high-level features, in which we consider the meaning of concepts. So which concept, which meanings are focused on text documents. We know that words can have many meanings, and many words can have the same meaning, and also not all meanings can be captured by single words. So can we extract some kind of more complex concept from the natural language and build indicators that are based on this this kind of complex concepts, you know. And now we have tools that we could use for this, you know, because there have been recent advances on this. We have large language models that we know they are very powerful, but using them has some pitfall, no, some limits. About, for example, the privacy of data. So if you use services from external company, we have to give our data. No, now maybe in your example, data are public, so we don't have these issues. But in many cases, we might have privacy issues. No, so we don't want to give our data to external services. And another thing is the cost, no, computational cost that translates in economic cost. And also there are issues that need to be addressed, like can we control the behavior of large language model? Can we have some guarantee on the results and so on? So I think this is an interesting field of research, and we are actually addressing some of these topics on FOSSR, no? We are building an infrastructure and hardware infrastructure that had also GPU. No, GPU are very powerful hardware component that are able to run large language models. But we need to have GPU with a lot of memory, and we need to have many of them that are well interconnected to be able to run these very powerful models, you know. And I think it's important that we build a way to share these resources to the stakeholders, so that anybody can take advantage of these resources, and also build specialized services for social science, for policy making, and so on, that make use of these resources. And also we need data. Okay, we need data. We can gather data from many sources. So we need to integrate this data. And we know this is a very, very difficult task. And an important, I think, an important task is to use machine learning algorithm procedures that can automatically analyze data and integrate this data. Okay, because we cannot do the job by hand. We can develop some targeted software that do the job, but this cannot be generalized, and these require a lot of work. So we need a way to make use of artificial intelligence or all the model tools for this kind of integration. And yeah, so integrating data, cleaning data, this is another important point. And interconnect data to knowledge bases. You talked, Antonio, about the classification, no? So can we classify text from different perspectives, and can we use some powerful tool for making a more complex kind of classification? No, we can have very large taxonomies, and this make the task much more difficult. You know, so we can take advantages of large language model and so on to make this task. So, okay, just to conclude, I think this is a very important topic, text mining in general, natural language processing, and I found that the case study is very, very interesting, and they show how you can apply this technique in general in virtually any kind of investigation. No, so, and I think we are addressing in FOSSR many of these issues, and an important thing would be to integrate large language model and build a way to make this accessible to policymakers, to social scientists, and so on. So okay, I stop here. I thank you again for this discussion and for this interesting work. And I open to any further discussion, questions, and so on.
Yeah, I will try to thank you very much, Misael. Thank you, Raffaele. I will try to answer and comment some suggestion. Yeah, let me start with what Raffaele said before. Okay, you know that, and we wrote within the policy brief that the study of within the European Commission there is, for instance, a specific office that carry out text mining for the European Commission for the document. So this highlights the importance of these techniques, these methods for the policymakers. Because in the case of procurement, you mentioned before, text mining, for instance, can be used to automatically analyze the contrast procurement regulations and allows to compare the several information, the different information at country level. So it's possible, for instance, to extract important information such as a requirement or key performance indicators or specific criteria. So this text mining can help identify trends and public spending. You said about the quota on specific needs on specific topics. So it's possible with text mining to understand if there is a shift in funding priorities or I don't know, or the emergence of new services needs in the performers in the documentation. So Misael said that it's possible to apply the text mining in public policy in general. So in the public procurement and to study the collaboration, for instance, between public organization and industry can be useful to understand the specific gaps or changing in the language to improve specific communication. About what Misael said, okay, in this case we presented two specific case study on STI. You said about privacy, ethical clearance, GPU memory. Obviously, these are important issue and concern that we are addressing within FOSSR. It's possible to improve the analysis that we say. For instance, in our case, we have used an ontology implemented within the RISIS infrastructure to extrapolate, to understand the association between public funding instrument and SDGs implemented from we implemented within RISIS. And for the second case study, we have used the BERT algorithm that you know to to extract information, and then we have used latent direct allocation, but you know that it's possible to improve using other sophisticated approaches, but we are working on this, you know. There are more aspects that we are addressing within FOSSR, but I think that the message that we want to give is that text mining is another tool that can help the scientific community and the collaboration between policymakers and the researchers. I don't know if there are specific questions from the other attendees. No questions?
Well, Antonio, could you please explain a bit, and Emanuela, of course, could you please explain a bit what are the limitations of these methods, these techniques, meaning that what are the main constraints that you find in your exploration in the two cases that you have shown? Sorry, I can't habituate my camera. Okay, now it works.
Yes, a limitation is okay, it's not a limitation, but the needs of data. So we need more and more data to apply specific algorithms. So this is an important issue. Another important a limit that we have using several text mining techniques is the language. Because usually we have, in more cases, the different languages, so which each country has a specific communication. This is not easy to standardize the several procedure when we have more languages, more several language structures, and so on. So this is an important aspect that fortunately in more cases there are more vocabularies in more languages, but I think this is an important limit because we don't have numbers and analyze number, but in this case we have to analyze textual data, so the communication, the property of language change by country. So this is a limit, but in more cases it's possible to overcome this limit. And the availability of data is very important in text mining context. I don't know if it's clear, the answer.
Yes, thank you.
Andrea?
Hi, Antonio and Emanuela. Thank you for the presentation. I have a question about the noise or irrelevant data that can be in text sources. So I wanted to ask you, how does the presence of irrelevant or inaccurate data in text sources could affect the accuracy of the text mining outcomes, of the text mining results, and what kind of approach can be employed to reduce this bias?
The noise is in all, you know that the noise is in all statistical methods. There are specific errors that we have to take into account in this sense. You know that there are specific measures that allows to evaluate the accuracy of each model. Obviously, it's not possible to check everything, you know. When we have 1 million, I don't know, of documents, this is a risk that we have to assume. In more cases, it's possible to check manually, but you know that in statistical context, there is an error, and also in this case, it's possible to have an error, but we are able in more cases to measure this error and to accept it or not. Thank
you very much.
No question, suggestion? I don't know, Serena, do you want to say something, or we can?
No, I think that if the audience would give some advice or comments, would be better. I don't know if we have Loretta. Okay.
You should turn on the microphone.
Yes, I'm giving the consent.
Oh, sorry.
To her. Sorry. Okay. Now you can open the.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for the presentation. It was very interesting for me too. Referring to the two specific cases you just presented today, I was considering and I was also curious to know how text mining could be used to evaluate whether references to very sustainable development goals, for example, are genuine, or if they might be instances of let's say superficial claims such as greenwashing, gender washing, or similar practices. Do we have actually sophisticated techniques available to uncover what lies behind the text, or we're not already for this step of analysis?
What is the question, Loretta? Sorry.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, I was curious about knowing if using text mining we can discover more about very sustainable development goals. So, for example, you presented some indicators about gender, but does text mining currently presents sophisticated techniques to identify, for example, greenwashing, gender washing, or similar practices?
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's possible, and we working on a specific paper with Emanuela, Andrea, and Emanuela Reale, where we addressing and we enlarge the text mining techniques to all SDGs. So we have all SDGs, 17 SDGs. We have sub SDGs. So and we are studying in a specific paper the orientation, for instance, the funding instruments, the calls behind the funding instrument, and their orientation to all SDGs. But to do this, we have used a specific ontology that I mentioned during the presentation, implemented within the RISIS infrastructure, that allows to extract keywords and to understand the orientation of several documents to all SDGs. So it's possible to enlarge the analysis, but it's important what Misael said before. So behind there is a conceptualization study using natural language processing, for instance, the ontology building. So it's not easy to associate the course reports documents to all SDGs without an ontology that explain the relationship between concept, between the different keywords and topics within the documents we analyze. So I don't know if this is what you say.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think we have another question.
Yes, Antonio, I have another curiosity. Before you talked about the possibility of implement a text mining analysis on sources from different languages, okay? But how can the lack of standardization in text and sources create a challenge for the implementation of this kind of technique? Because not only you have different languages, but different way of interpretation of the same words in the same language. So I was wondering how to deal with this possible lack of standardization. Maybe the manual check, or we have something automated we can implement.
Yes, it's not easy. In more cases, it's important to know the opinion of national experts. So in this case, in more cases, when in the ontology building or text mining in general, when we analyze textual corpus data, it's important the opinion of experts, scientists or policymakers that from the specific country to resolve some problems that due to language structure. So this is a possible solution. I don't know if Misael is a computer scientist, so I don't know if Misael, do you want to say about this?
Yes, there have been a lot of improvement on the abilities of language models to understand the text, and also language models are usually multi-languages, no? So they can be applied to multiple languages. They can understand also different varieties of languages, no? Of course, it depends on the specific case. I mean, maybe we need some way to organize the information, no? The information that we have from multiple sources, from multiple forms, need to be organized in some way. But in general, I think it's possible to apply these tools. Of course, if we want to apply a powerful tool, we need to have an infrastructure, a hardware infrastructure. It is expensive. We have issues of computational capacities, even of energy, no? Because when we build these very big models, we have also the issue of memory. But yeah, I think today the technology is at the point that we can apply automatic models as much as possible to have some kind of standardization of data and have the model to understand different varieties of languages, different standards, and so on.
Thank you to both of you. You are very optimistic, which I like. Thank you.
Raffaele?
Yeah, just to bring a small contribution to the discussion, just to say that this is a very important topic also for the European Commission. There is one important project, which is the European Digital Infrastructure Consortia, which is a new mechanism for a multi-country project financed under the Digital Decade Policy Program. One of these EDIC is the mission of one of these EDIC, which is the Alliance for Language Technologies, is to develop a common European infrastructure on language technologies, focusing particularly on large language models. And the objective, the final aim is to improve the European competitiveness, increasing the availability of European language data, just to analyze and having models to analyze the data in the several languages of the European Union, because this is also a problem for the market when the market develops software of hardware. The problem of language, it's obviously a limitation for the market expansion. And this is connected to another very important project, which is LDS. It's a project on data space, also supported by the European Commission. And we, as ministry, we co-finance the participation of the Italian enterprise and the University and Research Center to this European Digital Infrastructure Consortium.
Thank you, Raffaele. Other, Lorenzo?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I have a question for all the speakers. You have spoken about traditional, let's say, traditional text mining models, the more consolidated ones, and about the newer large language models. And you have spoken about the pro and the cons of both methods, and especially of the new large language models that are very appealing, but you reminded how they also have some issues that go with them. So I was wondering, are there any attempts to combine the two strains of literature? Is there any attempt to integrate newer large language models and more traditional text mining techniques? Maybe that's more a question for Misael, probably. But I was curious about if it was possible and if you see any advantages in combining them, especially for this sort of applications.
Okay. I don't have a specific answer, but of course, text mining in general, data mining is based on features, and you can start with any kind of feature you want from the data. So of course, large language models are able to extract these features. So this is of course a promising future aspect, no? That we want to integrate these two fields, no, in a way that we can take advantages of both.
Okay, thank you.
I have a last question, if I can. It's about computational intensity and the resource requirements to perform text mining. it could be very useful when you have a huge amount of data. So I was wondering what kind of equipment, there's something in the background, what kind of equipment is needed to perform analysis in large amount of data, for large amount of data.
Yeah, yes, Misael mentioned before this part when he said about GPU, that that is very expensive, but within FOSSR we will have a GPU in several servers that we have within the project. So obviously the memory is an important aspect, depends on how many textual data we have. We are overcoming this aspect because we have the GPU within FOSSR, so we are able to use. Sorry.
Sì, qual è il valore aggiunto, così chiudo
The
anche.
microphone, Giovanni, the microphone. Okay. And yes, GPU is an important step within FOSSR to analyze a large amount of textual data. Yeah.
I just would like to add that it depends on the kind of analysis that we want to do. So if you want to apply more classic data mining approaches, usually they don't require so much powerful. They require memory, they require computational power, but not so much as GPUs. Okay, but it depends on which kind of features we want to apply these approaches. So if we want to have a more deep understanding of the text, so of course we need to have GPU, and we need to have an expense, a big infrastructure. Okay, and still how many GPUs we need, how much GPU memory we need, that is different from the memory. We have memory of the system and memory of the GPU. If you use language model, machine learning models, we need the GPU memory. So how many of them we need, how much memory we need, it depends on the model that we have to run. So that large models that have 100 billion parameters, they need something like 200 gigabytes of GPU. So we need to parallelize more GPU. For example, GPU for 80 gigabytes each, we can parallelize 4 or 8 GPU like this to run very big models.
Thank you. And thank you for underscoring the value, the added value of FOSSR in allow this kind of analysis with the equipment it can provide to the researchers who can be user of the meta infrastructure we are building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one single. Can I intervene, please?
Yeah.
No. Yes. In light of the FOSS project, what is the role of this methodology that can be exploited, especially in the future, and what might be the value added of them for the project, in your opinion, in general?
Yeah. In general, okay, within the FOSS project, we will have in the next months more textual information on topics, environment, health, job market, and so on. In this presentation, we show only a part of data we are implementing within FOSSR. So text mining will have an important role because it is the only one method that allows to manage corpus textual data. Then obviously we can use machine learning or network analysis to analyze specific context, but the first part of the analysis is on textual data that is possible to do only with specific techniques or algorithms that allows to extract information from several sources such as PDF or other specific formats. So I think we'll have a great play an important role within the FOSS project, such as other techniques, but obviously depend on the question we want to answer. And about the policy, at the policy level, this is a great tool to understand how, for instance, the performers in specific contexts are aligned with the policy indications and policy guidelines. So to understand if there is it's important text mining much more other traditional approaches or other sophisticated approaches to understand if there is a gap between the policy indication and the performers, how these performers follow and receive the policy indication through several data sources, sentiment analysis, where it's possible to understand the opinion on specific messages, text, and so on, but also analyzing output in the scientific context. So this is, I think, is a complementary approach to other important techniques, but is the only one that allows to extract information from textual data.
You cited the possibility to complement this approach with the sentiment analysis, and my point is that this is exactly the link that we can have between the bridge between text mining and machine learning, right? Because we want to learn the relationship between text results and text encoding some way, and some variable that can be explained by that. I was thinking that one possibility, and I want to know about your thoughts about it, is that, for example, another interesting thing might be to link all this information about policy documents, for example, to some performance of the policy. For example, whether or not the policy was successful in a very simple case, but can be also very interesting. If you're going to generate a training data set in which you know to what extent a given policy was successful in certain characters, in certain directions, certain dimensions, and which ones were not really successful in those dimensions, you can create a mapping between the 0-1 variable, for example. Suppose that is 0-1, but you can have also a multinomial structure, and the results from the text analysis. You can map them, and this may be very, very useful to understand what is the relationship between the documents and the ability of the policy to be successful in certain dimensions, in certain directions. I don't know whether you agree with this or...
Yeah. No, this is a possible application, is useful, I think, for the FOSS project, because we have, several skills and expertise within FOSS, and it's possible to combine several techniques. So that text mining and machine learning, there is a direct link between these two approaches, and but also from program evaluation and so on. So obviously, your suggestion is a good suggestion, and within FOSSR it's possible to address this part.
And from a policy perspective, just a very last word about that. This might be very important for the policymaker, because the policymaker, if we see this kind of approach in a predictive way, can predict in advance to what extent a certain policy characterized by some textual structure, I mean, can or cannot be successful. So this is very important, right? No, because it is also a way which we try to learn the policymaker some way how to write down the policy documents, because the policy documents, all the documents that accompany a given policy are really relevant also for to what extent the policy will be able to reach its own main tasks and objectives. So I think that this is really, really relevant for policymakers to do. Of course, so we need a training data set. So someone that is going to write down to what humans deciding to what extent a given project was not successful in certain dimensions. So this is something that someone can do, for example, by a survey, by interviewing people about the project, for example, and you can generate this variable, and then you can link the textual results. Imagine this, it was fantastic approach that can be super useful for policymakers to know how to get better in terms of the designing of the policy, also in terms of especially in terms of the writing down of the policy and the form of it. Anyway, I think it's a great potential, this part. So thank you very much.
It's a great suggestion. Yeah, absolutely. It's a possible application. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah,
because also it's an idea to go a little beyond the descriptive part, because your part is so far it's very interesting, but maybe descriptive, right? So this other link to machine learning may be predictive. And this is also another point. It's not better or less better, but it's a very good complement to link the description of the policy and the ability to predict to what extent a certain policy may get to the point at which it wants to target. You know, that's the main point.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was just a long discussion, because I think it's very timely as an element.
Thank you. I don't know, maybe we can close conclude the session, right, Serena and
I don't know, we can close.
Okay for me.
So okay, we can conclude. Just to say, I'm going to take the lead now just for 1 second, just to say that tomorrow there is a very important day, the very central day for FOSSR, and we're very happy to welcome you and to participate online and in person to this very central day. And we will have several sessions and talks about the main features of FOSSR, and especially we will focus on the services that the FOSSR can have, and services for policymakers on the one hand and the researchers on the other end. So we have a rich program that is very interesting to follow. So I hope tomorrow to see you all. And we are going to start at 9 and with the institutional greetings, and we go on until more or less 5 p.m. So we're going to wait you for tomorrow, and we're very pleased for your participation even today. We're very excited to deliver our knowledge and also to transmit our enthusiasm about the role of FOSSR. And so tomorrow will be another nice day, and even the day after tomorrow as well. We have another important demo and session. So remember, tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much, and bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Let me thanks Misael and Raffaele for accepting the invitation. From my side, thank you to all participants for attending this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you to you.
Very much.
Everyone,
See you tomorrow.
bye bye.
Bye bye.
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 Bye bye.